document everything on a website for everyone in the public to read, come to their own conclusions, and they can determine whether or not there was harassment here, there was a smear campaign.
Employment, housing, business, and state-funded programs. As you can see in this chart on their website, you first have to submit an intake form.
Or there was retaliation, because we have proof and receipts that absolutely and unequivocally show.
The premiere was supposed to be a triumph. Instead, Justin Baldoni, the director and star, was reportedly locked in a basement for over an hour. This wasn't a mistake. It was an alleged order from Blake Lively herself. She didn't want him seen. She didn't want him near her. The industry watched in horror as a lead actor was treated like a PR liability on his own big night. This was the first shot in a war that would soon move from the red carpet to the federal courtroom, exposing a feud that Hollywood had been desperately trying to hide behind fixed smiles and designer gowns. Blake didn't just stop at cold shoulders. She launched a massive federal lawsuit in New York, targeting Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios. The claims were heavy: mental anguish, emotional distress, and massive lost wages. This was a high-stakes legal offensive designed to crush the competition. By moving the fight into the legal arena, Blake signaled that the gloves were entirely off. This wasn't a simple workplace disagreement anymore. It was a reputation-destroying battle for cold, hard cash. Everyone was forced to pick a side as the maelstrom of accusations began to swirl through the headlines. But Justin Baldoni wasn't about to play the victim in silence. Just days before, he had already fired his own legal nuke, a massive 90-page lawsuit against the New York Times. He accused the media giant of false light and invasion of privacy for how they covered the initial complaints. Justin has a history of not backing down from giants, and this move showed he was ready to dismantle the narrative brick by brick. He wasn't just fighting Blake, he was fighting the entire machine he believed was being weaponized against him. The legal chess match had officially begun, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Insiders quickly began whispering that Blake's initial legal move was never meant to reach a trial. They called it a nuisance lawsuit, a strategic procedural filing with the California Civil Rights Department. This allowed her to air explosive grievances about harassment and workplace concerns without ever having to sit for a deposition or be questioned under oath. It was a masterclass in PR manipulation. By using a numbered legal document, she could dominate the news cycle and frame herself as the victim while avoiding the brutal scrutiny of the discovery process. It was about headlines, not justice. Blake's attorneys reportedly told TMZ that a formal trial would have actually jeopardized her true goal, a complete image rehabilitation campaign. By filing a CRD complaint instead of a full suit, she could sidestep the risk of her own inconsistencies being exposed. It was a calculated dance designed to keep the most damaging evidence hidden while she spun a tale of victimhood for the public. Her team meticulously crafted a story where she could point fingers at Justin without risking a cross-examination that might tear her claims apart. The courtroom was just a stage for her carefully directed performance. The narrative shifted violently when Justin's camp decided to drop the receipts. They claimed Blake had been cherry-picking text messages, showing the world only the snippets that made her look good. But now, the full, unedited conversations are reportedly coming to light, and they paint a completely different picture. These leaked communications supposedly show a dynamic that contradicts Blake's allegations of aggression. Seeing the full context has left the public questioning who the real instigator was. It's no longer just her word against his. It's a battle of documented proof that threatens to flip the script. Suddenly, a new player entered the ring, Ryan Reynolds. Blake's husband and his high-powered PR team allegedly stepped in to try and clean up the unfolding disaster. But instead of fixing the mess, his involvement only raised more red flags. Fans and critics alike began to question why Ryan was so deeply entangled in his wife's professional project. His attempts to manage the crisis seemed to backfire, bringing even more unwanted attention to the behind-the-scenes chaos. The line between personal support and professional interference blurred, making the Reynolds-Lively power dynamic the subject of intense scrutiny. The New York Times found themselves caught in the crossfire, accused of a massive journalistic failure. Justin's legal team claims the paper was an eager ally to Blake, publishing her complaints without any real scrutiny. They reportedly rushed the article out hours before an official deadline, allegedly filling it with errors and glaring omissions. This rush to print gave Blake's narrative a massive platform before Justin's side could even be heard. It transformed a celebrity spat into a broader indictment of media integrity. The Times' perceived bias fueled a public outrage that might have been based on half-truths. A single text message from August 16 became the smoking gun for Blake's smear campaign accusations. In the exchange, her PR rep allegedly shared an article about Blake being canceled, to which Blake responded by praising the work. She used this in her lawsuit to prove a plot was afoot. However, Justin's team vehemently disputes this interpretation, claiming the context was entirely different and that the Times failed to verify the facts. They argue that Blake's depiction of this exchange is a total fabrication. This disagreement over a few lines of text has become a central pillar in the fight for the truth. The drama reached a boiling point when Justin's powerhouse lawyer, Brian Friedman, sat down with Megyn Kelly. He didn't just come to talk, he came with undeniable receipts. Friedman methodically began dismantling Blake's narrative piece by piece, presenting evidence that the public had never seen before. This interview was a pivotal moment in the war of perception, shifting the tide in Justin's favor. For the first time, the accusations were met with documented counter-arguments that were hard to ignore. The transparency of this move signaled that Justin was no longer playing defense, he was going on the attack. Friedman's most explosive evidence came in the form of direct audio messages from Justin Baldoni himself. Hearing the director's own voice provided an unprecedented look behind the curtain of the production. These recordings were designed to expose what the legal team calls deliberate distortions from Blake's side. The raw nature of the audio made it difficult for Blake's team to spin, as it provided a real-time account of the tensions on set. This public unveiling of evidence turned the legal battle into a full-blown media war, with both sides fighting for the soul of their reputations in front of millions of fans. One of the most shocking revelations from the Friedman interview was the claim that Blake Lively hadn't even read the book the movie was based on. Despite starring in a project with such deep emotional weight, she reportedly wasn't familiar with Colleen Hoover's source material. Her infamous comment about not even knowing who the author was sparked a massive backlash from the fan base. Friedman suggested this lack of preparation led to constant creative clashes on set. It painted a picture of a lead actress who was fundamentally disengaged from the story's core, causing friction with the cast and crew. The tension on set allegedly boiled over when Blake began demanding changes to make herself more comfortable, regardless of the script. Friedman confirmed these infamous meetings, highlighting Blake's assertive attempt to seize control over the entire production. It wasn't just about creative differences, it was a power struggle that left the crew feeling alienated. While the public saw a coordinated promotional front, the reality was a set riddled with mistrust. These behind-the-scenes maneuvers laid the groundwork for the legal explosion that followed, showing the movie's drama was nothing compared to the war off camera. The accusations took a personal turn when Blake accused Justin of body-shaming her by questioning her weight. It was a grave claim that threatened to end Justin's career. However, Baldoni fought back with a logical explanation. He needed the information for a back-focused training regimen to handle lifting scenes safely. His personal trainer even reportedly backed up this claim with records. These conflicting accounts created a deeply divided public opinion. Was it a sensitive comment taken out of context, or a deliberate attempt to undermine a co-star? The answer depends on which side you choose to believe. Perhaps the most serious accusation involved Justin allegedly barging into Blake's trailer while she was pumping breast milk. This was framed as a massive breach of privacy and professional conduct, but then the counter-evidence arrived. Brian Friedman presented a text message that supposedly showed Blake had actually invited Justin to that very trailer to rehearse lines during that exact time. If true, this contradiction completely dismantles one of Blake's most damaging claims. It suggests a level of misrepresentation that calls her entire narrative into question. The trailer incident is now a flashpoint. Megyn Kelly and Brian Friedman broke down the legal strategy behind Blake's complaint, noting that her strongest play wasn't the misconduct itself, but the claim of retaliation. Her argument hinges on the idea that after she complained, she was met with a coordinated campaign to destroy her brand. However, Friedman argues this entire narrative is a massive exaggeration designed to generate sensational headlines. By framing herself as a victim of a professional hit job, Blake can leverage specific legal vulnerabilities. But as the receipts leak, the idea of a smear campaign against her is harder to prove. Critics were stunned when Blake decided to launch a new hairline product right in the middle of the movie's promotion. Friedman pointed to this as proof of her misplaced priorities. While the film was tackling heavy themes of domestic violence, Blake seemed more focused on building her personal business empire. This move fueled the perception that she was using the film's spotlight for her own commercial gain rather than the project's success. It added another layer of tension to an already fractured production, as the lead star appeared more invested in selling shampoo than supporting the director's vision. The conflict went beyond personal slights and entered the territory of a total power grab. Justin's team alleges that Blake tried to seize control of everything, from the soundtrack to the wardrobe and even the final edit. The most shocking part? They claim she pressured the studio to release her version of the film, even though test audiences reportedly liked Justin's cut better. This was a battle for the creative soul of the movie. It shows a lead actress who wasn't content just playing a role. She wanted to be the director and the ultimate authority, regardless of whose toes she stepped on to get there. Just when Blake thought she had the upper hand, an old interview clip resurfaced and went viral for all the wrong reasons. In the video, an interviewer mentions that Blake supposedly tried to teach Justin how to be more touchy on set. The comment immediately raised eyebrows. People pointed out the obvious. Isn't that what intimacy coordinators are for? The irony was thick, especially given Blake's later accusations against Justin's conduct. This public moment became a major blow to her credibility, showing a disconnect between her on-set behavior and her legal claims. Her victim narrative looks fragile. The rumors took an even darker turn, with whispers about Blake's alleged secret feelings for her co-star. Speculation began to swirl that her hostility might have been fueled by a personal rejection. While these claims remain unverified, they added a sensational, emotionally charged dimension to the legal war. Some fans believe she tried to sabotage Justin's career because he didn't reciprocate her supposed interest. Whether or not there is any truth to these whispers, they have successfully muddied the waters, making it nearly impossible to separate fact from gossip. The personal and professional are one. Ryan Reynolds found himself in hot water when it was revealed he had been editing scenes behind the director's back. Neither the screenwriter nor Justin Baldoni reportedly knew about his interference. This was seen as a massive overreach, and the internet didn't hold back. Fans were furious that Ryan was helping promote a serious film about domestic violence as if it were a lighthearted rom-com. Many argued that Ryan's attempts to help his wife were actually doing the most damage to her reputation. His tone-deaf intervention only highlighted the disconnect between the film's gravity and the promo. Despite being allegedly iced out of his own movie and facing a barrage of legal attacks, Justin Baldoni remains standing firm. He has made it clear that he won't be crushed by the narrative being built against him. He's not fighting for fame or fortune. He says he's fighting for the integrity of his work and the chance to tell impactful stories. His refusal to back down has created two distinct camps in the public eye. On one side is a carefully managed PR machine, and on the other is a director determined to hold his ground. The battle for the truth is far from over, and Justin isn't going anywhere. This saga is a masterclass in how Hollywood power players use the legal system as a PR weapon. Blake Lively's tactics showed just how easily the line between a courtroom and a news cycle can be blurred. As the documents fly and the receipts continue to drop, the public is left to decide who is telling the truth. Is this a case of a victim finally speaking out, or a calculated power play gone wrong? The final verdict on these careers hasn't been written yet, but one thing is certain: in the war of narratives, the first casualty is always the truth. We are all just waiting to see whose story crumbles first.